Hey everybody, it's Daniel. Today is Friday, March 31st. Hope everybody has a great weekend coming up. I have a 1 TTM mail day. I got this yesterday on opening day, which I thought was fitting since it's a baseball related return. Kind of a cool story behind this. Again, it's baseball related, it's not a player. But let me go ahead and share a couple of the things that I sent that were returned, and that is these stickers, these Chicago White Sox stickers. So take a moment and see if you can identify who that autograph is. Any guesses? It's Nancy Faust. So if you're a White Sox fan, you probably know who Nancy Faust is. If you're not necessarily a White Sox fan, you might not. I didn't. I'm a huge baseball fan. I love anything and everything about baseball, especially the history of baseball. I love it. But I didn't know who Nancy Faust was until about a month ago. I started watching a YouTube documentary called Last Comiskey, about the last season played at Old Comiskey Park in Chicago. That was the 1990 season before the White Sox moved into New Comiskey Park, okay? And as part of the documentary, you learn about Nancy Faust, who was the organist for the Chicago White Sox from 1970 through 2010. That's pretty impressive. And she's a huge part of the White Sox culture and experience during that time period. Now, in addition, she had some impact on the game of baseball and sports in general. She was just out of college as she began her career working for the White Sox in 1970. And one of the things that she did that other organists at baseball games and other sporting events didn't do is she incorporated current songs into her repertoire, okay? And she popularized the na 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 na, hey hey hey, goodbye. That we probably all heard at a sporting event. That was Nancy Faust. She took that song and adapted it to the organ and used it when opposing pitchers typically were leaving the game. And so, how cool is that? Again, it's just a piece of baseball history that I just learned about, and I think it's fantastic. I watched the documentary and was like, hey, this is awesome. I love kind of that oddball, like I don't have to get an autograph from Frank Thomas. I don't have to get an autograph from Carlton Fisk. Would I love to get their autographs? Absolutely. But I'm just as happy getting Nancy Faust's autograph when it comes to Chicago White Sox and that legacy, that tradition. I think that's amazing. She was obviously a big baseball fan. She loved Dick Allen. Dick Allen was her favorite player. And again, I think can be credited with kind of changing that fan experience. Again, I watched the video, the documentary, and was like, oh, I gotta send her something for an autograph. I think that's awesome. And so I went and I checked some resources, and there wasn't an address. But I did find her on Twitter, and I reached out and I said, hey, I watched the documentary, Last Comiskey, and I learned about you and your impact with the White Sox, and she also was an organist for the Bulls and the Blackhawks for a while. But again, she spent 40 years with the White Sox. And so I reached out and said, I'd love to have your autograph to add it to my collection. Is there any way I could send you something and then have you sign it and send it back? And I didn't hear anything for a couple of days, and then I got a message through Twitter that now I mentioned in the message through Twitter that here in Arizona we have an organist at Chase Field, Bobby Freeman. I'm pretty sure he's been there since day one. So, he's coming up on 30 years with the Diamondbacks. Anyways, and so I had mentioned that, and she said, "Oh, do you still live in Arizona?" I said, "Yeah, I do." She said, "Okay, you can send some items to this address as long as you kind of do it soon." And it was an address here in Phoenix, or in Arizona. And turns out she had come to the Phoenix area to play at spring training for the White Sox. The White Sox have their spring training over in Phoenix, Glendale area. And so I think that's why she was here. But she was gracious enough to offer that, and I sent the stickers and an index card. And then she actually included, and she sent her own envelope because this photo wouldn't fit in the envelope that I had sent. So special thanks to her for the extra photo and taking the time to get a different envelope and put a stamp on it herself and address it to myself, so that, she's not taking this photo and folding it to get it to fit in that envelope. But she said, "To Dan, play ball," and then she signed it down here, which is awesome. Again, I love the history of baseball, and Nancy Faust, she has a part of that history. And so very happy to have her sign that. I got it back on opening day. That's kind of cool. But anyways, that's my TTM from yesterday. Today is Friday, the 31st of March. Have a great weekend, everybody.